to be talking about intimacy. Now, here's the funny thing. When I put this up, a lot of people talk about intimacy as it relates to sex. Sex is a part of marriage, but however, this is not the platform that I would like to discuss that on, and my wife feel comfortable. So if that's something that you would like to discuss, then we'll set up a separate forum that's not on the Facebook platform where you can ask questions and we can dig into that, because we have something to say about that too. However, what we want to discuss tonight is intimacy. And the word in itself, intimacy. Somebody once told me that one time. It was awesome. Just a depiction of what intimacy is. Intimacy. So I tried to find the simplest definition, if you will, to explain intimacy between a couple, between people. And I found this out, which is interesting. We're going to start here and then we're going to get into the meat of the matter. I found out that there are there are 5 levels to intimacy, or 5 different types of intimacy that we experience as human beings. One is spiritual, one is physical, one is sexual, one is emotional, and one is intellectual. So out of those 5 tonight, we want to lift out the power in emotional connecting as a couple. And one of the things I found out when just researching, because y'all, I do research stuff when I'm preparing these, because I want to make sure we're bringing good information that you can apply to your life and walk this stuff out. And I'm not just, talking because I want to be heard, but I actually do research and, check on some things. So with intimacy in a couple is vitally important. So we want to share you some things through, again, our testimonies of our ups and downs, in and out, how intimacy played a significant part of keeping our union strong. Yeah. And I always like to say this before we start. By no means are we saying we're perfect and we have the perfect marriage and all that good stuff that people like to hear. Even though we look good together, we look kind of cute together. However, there are things and rough patches that we had to work through. But we want to share with you some testimonies and things that actually work for us. We didn't read this out of a book. We read the book and implemented the book, and it actually worked for us. So with that being said, we want to get in here. So feel free, if you have any comments, or like we always do, go in and throw those out, and we will definitely try to answer those. Hey, Tasha, you won the contest, by the way. Congratulations. Hey, Miss Angel, how are you? So we'll get that out to you. You can go ahead and text me your address, and we'll get your gift out to you. And we hope that you'll enjoy it. All right, so let's get right into this now. One of the things that in preparing for this, Val and I, just kind of talked about different experiences in what intimacy how intimacy played a part in that. And like I said, the simplest form that we could say intimacy it's when we're emotionally connected. And that sounds real simple, but a lot of times to be emotionally connected, it takes you presenting yourself in a very vulnerable state. Now, some of the things we're going to say tonight are repeats, because it's essential building blocks to get to this place of being emotionally connected. So I can remember, and we talked about this, and we're just going to give like stories to kind of help when we were going through pregnancy. And a lot of people don't know this, so this might be your first time hearing this, and some people might know this for a lot, heard a lot. And I checked with my wife to make sure it was okay that I share this. But when we're talking about emotionally connected, sometimes it takes hard patches in your relationship to bring you to that emotional oneness. Yeah. If anybody know sometimes it takes that rough patch to bring you to that emotional oneness, and it's okay. That's what we call, the intimate. That's when we share the intimacy. The scripture I want to share tonight, because we always launch from scripture, and the Bible tells us this in Mark 10, 8 and 9. It says, and the two shall become one flesh, so they are no longer two, but one flesh. Mm-hmm. Therefore, God has joined them together. Let no man separate them. And there's different translation, but I chose this one because it kind of explains it. So in our journey of becoming the one whole person that God calls us to, we go through different shapings and moldings of individual identities and things that we release to bring us to that oneness, or that one cohesive union or unit, if you will. That way, it takes time for you to, someone once said, you work together like a well-oiled machine, but it takes time. And doing that, we have to, pick apart those things that are important to the other one and as well as important to myself, and then come together with a mutual understanding of those things. Are y'all understanding what I'm saying? Is that making sense to anybody? Y'all talk to me. So one of the things that we went through, and when we first experienced, one of the times we experienced, one of the first times we experienced the most intimacy, emotional intimacy, was we were going along with life, doing what people do. We wanted to have a baby. Well, first we didn't want to have a baby. Let me say that. First we didn't. We kind of leered like, not right now. Not that we did. We didn't want one at the time. We didn't want to have it. So she'll help me navigate that. I'm telling the story right. So we went through this this season where it came place where we wanted to have a child. And it was a very hard place because in the beginning we didn't know, but from Val, she would come home and feel, some kind of way, because people would ask, well, why y'all not having a baby? What's wrong? Why y'all waiting so long? And they didn't understand that we were having complications. So it was like really hard for her, to put on the smile and all that kind of stuff when people would ask her those things, not really knowing and understand that, hey, we doing what we're supposed to do. It just ain't happening, and that's kind of how it went. So it was a very hard time, and we had to really bear one another up in that particular time. And I remember as the story went, we were going along, didn't think about anything. It was just like, well, maybe we're not supposed to have kids. That's what we said. We're like, maybe we're not supposed to have kids. And that was early on in our marriage. So it took us 10 years, guys, 10 years before we had a baby. But it still was complication even when we conceived, right? Yeah. Because we were going to the hospital, and Val, she almost lost a baby like about, was it 2 or 3 times?
Like twice.
Yeah, twice. And I mean, you talk about nerve wracking. Oh my God. It was like the least little sign of cramp or complication. I'm like, let's go. We're going to the hospital. I think the people knew us by name at the hospital. And I think the last time we went, they were like, give them a room. Just don't let them go back home. But my case in point with the story was, her emotions were like all over the place, and I could not be the husband like, oh, well, you're going to, get over it. And I know we wouldn't say that, but it took me really seeing that side and really meeting her where she was, because both of us were in this. Both of us had to share in the experience, which is the first point we want to talk about is when you're in that place, you have to learn to first humble yourself and be empathetic towards what your spouse is going through. Now, that's just a story with her, but that's the first time that we really displayed that. And it's different. Emotional intimacy is different than all the intimacies that we listed, because it really allows you to bring your heart together as one, like the Bible says. Because here's the thing, and this is a bold statement, but I'm going to say, but it's true. If you're not emotionally connected, you don't even worry about being hot and bothered, because that's like a disablement. So we have to learn, and we learn to identify early on through those trials and those experiences that I had to cater and be there for her in that time of intimacy. I had to allow her those times to cry and sob on me, and come on, girl, man up and on. I had to allow her to work through those times, and what it did, it brought us to a place of closeness. So those are some of the things that we want to take. Yeah, go ahead.
Real quick. And some of the things too, just kind of backing up, you have to think that leading up to this point before we actually conceived, there was a period where, 10 years, that's a long time. I mean, we didn't want children in the very beginning, but we also didn't say we wanted to wait 10 years to have our first child. And so it was rough. So even now, interesting enough, because it could have went a different way had he not made a decision to emotionally connect to me in this way. Especially being a man, because most men aren't that emotional, like, well, that happened. And so for me, it was about him allowing that time and being supportive in that versus, because there were moments that I felt some type of way about, being a woman, I can't conceive. And anybody that's out there that's experienced that, you already know what that is like. And others may see like, oh, just get over it or happen. And it get a support group and all that, but you want your support from your spouse. And he could, and some, you know, it causes some rifts in some marriages because of that sometimes. And so it was important for me that he understood what I was feeling in those moments and how he could best support me, and from an emotional standpoint, and then just reaffirming me as a woman, as his wife, and it's okay, we'll get through this, and I'm not going anywhere, I'm not upset about it. So being there in that way. So that's when we talk about, because intimacy, we think again sexually, but it's that closeness, that oneness, that knowing what that partner needs, or your spouse needs in that time. So, and I can say leading up into that. So when, you know, we got the news, of course, we were very excited, but then that was a different challenge once we conceived because of just some of the high risk. And it wasn't because of my age at the time. It was just some things that my body was going through that was making the pregnancy challenging. So, yeah.
And it was like Valerie said, we had to come to that oneness to look beyond what was actually going on. I mean, don't make that like the priority, but make her the priority. And then that, I mean, I had to minister to her in those times. What I mean minister, like I said, I'm the type of guy, and I hope this is making sense to everybody, because I'm the type of guy, I've been said, and my cousins, some of them on that, I don't show a lot of emotions. And I'm like, and a lot of people can misinterpret that, right? Like, I don't show a lot of emotion. I'm like, I mean, the most you'll probably see me cry is in church. Other than that, people are like, you know, is he alive? Does he feel anything? I do, but it was a hard place for me to connect emotionally, intimately, because I had to disconnect from a lot of my psyche and how I was thinking about things. So it was a very uncomfortable place. And I just hope that's making sense to everybody and it's helpful. It was a very uncomfortable place for me, but at that time, I know that's what she needed. She didn't need to be isolated or anybody know I'm a technical person. I love computers, anything gadget and technical, I'm all in it. So I couldn't like, oh, you're going to be all right, and not give her that attention. But I had to be, and here's this word again, big word, empathetic. And what does that mean? Empathetic means this. You see yourself in that person's shoes, not sympathetic. Sympathetic simply means that, oh, I feel so sorry you're going through that. Now, you might say that's weird going through, couples, but married people, they go through this thing. Like Valerie said, some of these things are the very reasons that we get to that place of calling it quits, because we're not emotionally connected. And that intimacy, that time that, it's important. Now I understand. One night and intimacy is that closeness that you have as friends. And I'm trying to be tasteful because my wife is here, because y'all know if I was on the living room, other than when we're being sexually intimate. Let me say it that way. Other than when we're being sexually intimate, especially when it comes to us as guys, because normally when we think of intimacy, that's what we think. We like pull out the cameras, the wax, and everything else we want to do because we get ready to be intimate. But we have to learn to connect emotionally first. So I had to do the work and saying like, where is she? What is she going through? And understand this. I can't fix it. Right. Watch this, guys. This is a bomb moment. I can't fix it, but I'm going to be there with you. Right. And you might say, what? But she was carrying your baby. Well, I'm telling you, we could pull up references how people felt alone in that time because her hormones were all over the place. They had her on crazy medication, all kind of stuff that was going. I mean, she was going through a lot. Her hair was breaking off. I mean, it was a lot going on to the point she was stressed out. It was a lot in that time. And here's the other part, y'all. We had to go to church and serve the people. We had to go to church and serve the people. Not that they asked us to do it, but I'm just saying we had to go to church and serve the people through all those things because that was our responsibility. Now, it was my job as her husband, not as Pastor Dre. It was my job as her husband to help minister to those needs and connect with her intimacy, emotionally intimate. So that's what we decide to do. And how do we do that? What are some things that we do? I was there. I listened to her. Right. Not only listen, I talked to her. Stuff like touch. That's very important. People don't understand this, but do you know your body, for married couples on here, releases certain endorphins, if I'm saying it right. I can't think of the name of what it is right now, but it makes you feel. Yeah, it starts with an O, and it's not oxycodone, but
No,
it starts with an O. I can't remember now, but it's scientifically, it actually helps you, and it creates those endorphins in your mind that makes you feel happy. So the power of touch is very important when we're talking about relating to one another intimately. Is this making sense to anybody? Go ahead.
Yeah,
go ahead.
and I just want to say a lot of times people think when you say, okay, being emotionally attached or emotionally intimate, the first thing we tend to think about a lot of times is like, oh, they gotta cry. Because I know me, and here's the thing, I used to feel that way because he doesn't show a lot of those type of emotion because sometimes his face is very blank. You don't know, but unless he's laughing, but you're like, okay, are you listening? Are you mad? Are you frustrated? Are you serious? Are you hearing me? Are you not? And he'll just kind of nod and just keep this straight face. And I'm thinking, and I'm here bawling and I'm crying. And I'm thinking, well, isn't this a moment you want to cry with me? Like any minute, any tears? Like, it's okay, cry. But I had to understand now when I'm at, expecting that was, I can't expect that that's the way he's going to show and attach to me in that moment emotionally. But it was more around like, hey, give me, he gave, I remember one time he just embraced me like, hey, we're going to be fine. We're going to get through this. Then he's one that he'll start joking around, and we talked about his bachata and his twerking. So he'll do things that make me laugh because then I'll start getting all goofy and laughing. So those were ways because that's still connected in an emotional way, and that's emotional intimacy. So it's just making sure you understand, but not setting the expectation that they got to fall all out with you and bend all over and roll all over the floor because that's how you're responding. Don't mean that person in trying to connect there with you is going to respond the same way because that can pose frustration too. Like you not hearing me, this doesn't because then, and there has been moments that we got into, not a big argument, but like, well, do you feel this? Are you hurting like I'm hurting? Yes, I'm here with you. So him understanding, okay, what is she needing in this moment? How I just need to listen. Let me make sure I'm being present, not holding my phone and like, I'm listening to you. But no, putting that down, giving me undivided attention, allowing me to bear myself and share whatever's on my heart and mind, and him being attentive and listening. That's that intimate connection.
That was well said. And Veronica put that what is released. Y'all can look that up. Thank you, Veronica, for finding that for us. Yeah. I ain't gonna say oxytocin or something like that. Oxytocin. But y'all can check it out. So you'll know I did my research. I know what I'm talking about. But thanks, Ronnie, for putting that up. But like Val said, and that's a good point she brought out, allow in dealing with those emotional, intimate experiences, allow your spouse to be themselves. Because, and what do I mean by that? I was there to aid and minister to her. But like she said, I'm the type of person, and most people know me, like I say, if you really know Dre, I'm awkward when it comes to things like that. And I know y'all, I ask God to, how in the world, I'm a pastor. I really get awkward, like when people die and stuff you're supposed to say. And I get real awkward with that type of stuff. Or if somebody started crying, and it's so funny because my daughter is the same way to a certain extent. I get really awkward if somebody started crying on me. It's more like I'm going, no, please don't do that. Don't do that on me because I don't know what to do. Val is much better with that type of thing. So here you have us going through this stuff, Val crying, and I'm standing here like, it's going to be all right. I'm here for you. So my default is, like she said, I make her laugh. I do something silly or, and it takes her mind off. Now, that might not work for everybody, but that's our technique and how we got through. And what it did, we developed a closeness. We developed a closeness through this time because later on, and I know it was dear to her because she would say stuff like, I love you. But it was different, y'all. It's different than the love in the beginning of your marriage than when you really go through some stuff and you work through it, whether good, bad, or indifferent. It's a different type of closeness that you experience. And I'm pretty sure those of that are on here that have been married much longer than us, you can attest to the fact that it's a whole different experience when you work through something together. Right. You are like a force to be reckoned with, and you join together as that one union. Does that make sense? Y'all come on, give me some hearts if you're enjoying the conversation.
Now, let's flip the script because you talked about a time that I needed you like that and how you were able to see what I needed in that time. So has there been a time that you felt you need a certain type of, even I know men aren't emotional,
Mhm.
but a certain type of support emotionally from me in connection to something you were experiencing?
Wow, that's a great question. You're trying to take my show. She interviewing me. Well, that's a good question, and I guess to answer a time that I felt that you,
The
how I want to
reverse.
say, yeah, you was my dog, as they say. You had my bike. She had my bike. Um, um, there's a number of times, but I think the one that was most important to me, that really mean a lot to me, is when I was getting ready to meet my biological father. I knew him, but an event came up that I was getting ready to meet him, and I not found my sister, but I was reunited with my sister Barbara. And I think Barbara's on. Hey, Barbara! Shout out to Barbara. And it's developed in a wonderful relationship with her and I. And so it came to this place where I was getting ready to meet my father, my biological father. And it was a very awkward place for me. And I would tell Val, I said, I don't know. We were invited for Christmas. I said, I don't know. I don't know if I should go. Because I have all these emotions. And I wasn't angry, but I had a lot of emotions that came to the surface that I never encountered before. And I was talking to Val and said, I don't know. I said, I think I'm gonna call Bob and tell him, no, I ain't gonna go. And so many times I changed my mind and I was gonna do it. I changed my mind and I was gonna do it. And I can tell you all, we would have like pillow talk moments where Valerie would just listen politely, and she would just, really bear me up in that experience, because I don't know emotionally what was going on, but it was like a lot of stuff. And I wasn't angry at my dad. It wasn't anything like that. I wasn't mad at him. It was just, oh my God, what do I say? Do I look like it? It's like all these questions was going through my head. And if I had to say to answer the question, I think that's the one of the times where, she really like a trooper, and she was my strength. She truly was my strength in those times. And through that, it attested to the fact that we united in a way.
Right.
We engaged in a way. We encountered one another in a way where it wasn't like, oh, child, get on what? I know you're a big old man doing all that. Right. It wasn't like that. Right. It was non-judgmental. It was compassionate. It was empathetic of where I was. Had nothing to do with my brute and strength as a man. I was able to be vulnerable, to take off my man hat and be Dre. And she was there to, minister to me in that time. And it blessed my socks off. It's like, you know what? I want to do whatever I can for this lady. I love this girl, So it was that kind of thing. And that's what if we hope everybody's getting this night, that's what brings you through that intimacy that together. Now, I want to say this, and then we're going to move on. Because we're focusing on marriage, but it's also intimate within your family. You and your friends can share intimacy, what we're talking about here, being emotionally connected. Your friends, if you've told your best friend something that I never told anybody this, and they receive it and they're not judgmental, it helps your relationship come together. And the reason why it does, because that's why you got to exercise proper communication. You have to understand in those areas to back up, withdraw, all those type of things. Let yourself be yourself, but talk those things out, and it's going to allow you to get closer, get stronger. Your union is going to get stronger.
Yeah, I agree.
So that was, the answer that particular time. And I don't know if I finished the story with the kids, but y'all know we had 2 children. So we have 2 kids now, but it was a very tough time. And even after that, like now, it began to affect me too. It's like we look back and like, wow, we didn't think we would be in this place. And it's not not me and her, it's us together, because here it is, the imagery of us working through that together will forever be embedded in our mind. And that's a pivotal moment in our marriage because we connected emotionally and experienced that intimacy. Is it making sense to anybody? All right, we got a comment here. Intimacy with a husband and wife makes you think about a pyramid, the connection and the base that is held by God. Amen, Sandra. That is a good analogy. That is so true. It's held together by God, because with God, all things are possible. And somebody's got to be strong, right?
Right.
Somebody's got to be strong in those weak points. One of my clients, she's an older lady, and she said this, and it stuck with me. Not my client, but she was a client at the school. And she said, she'd been married for so many years. And I said, well, what's the secret? And I always like to do that comically, ask her, what's the secret? And she said, the secret is don't fall out of love at the same time. She said, someone has to remain strong to carry the other one through that turbulent time. Yeah. I was like, wow, that stuck with me. And it's so true, because you're going to go through stuff. There are things that you will experience that your spouse will feel helpless, because there are some times that I feel helpless. Now, I'm going to ask you the same question. Yes. Since you're on my show. Name a time that you felt that I was really that strength for you, or Carrie, other than the babies. What's the time where we connected emotionally?
Great question. Why people say that? You know how we pick up a cliche? That's the thing now in the corporate and church. Great question.
Well, I think you buy time to sort
think
the
about
answer.
That's the trick. Okay.
That's it.
But I have an example. I think about a time when my mom was diagnosed with having an aneurysm in her brain. And I remember getting that phone call, and she was distraught. And I was like, what? And they had to rush her into surgery like the next day to have brain surgery. Mind you, she's not really ever had surgery. And then what do you know about aneurysm? Because it was like, it's a life and death type of thing. And if it erupts, obviously she could die. And I remember just going to pieces.
It's okay.
No, Facebook.
See, I'm holding her hand, so I'm releasing the endorphins. So now she's going to feel wonderful and get through this.
But I remember we were laying across the bed. I think you were on your phone or something. I know, probably on your phone. But we were both doing something, and I remember just sitting there like, wow. In the chorus, him not being a cry. I'm quiet. I'm not like, yelling or anything, but I'm just like, wow. So I just began to pray within me, like, God, this can't be, like, we can't lose her right now, so forth and so on. And I remember you didn't even say nothing. I think what he did, he put the phone down and just kind of embraced me and kind of just held me and just allowed me that time. And it's like, you don't have to talk yet, because he could hear what was going on, and he knew. But I didn't even say what I needed. I didn't jump up and rush over because she was, they were living not too far from us. But it was like I needed that embrace, because it was like, it was just an unexpected call. It was just an unexpected scenario. And although it seemed like a small thing, it's just what I needed in that moment. And I remember, I think we talked about it. I'm like, thank you for being there that way. And of course, following forward, she got through the surgery and everything was fine. But that was a moment that I'll always remember, that you were there in that way for me. And you weren't selfish. You didn't stay on your phone. You could have chosen to be like, okay, let me know what you need. Or if you need something, and kept doing what you were doing. You just recognized, like, even though I'm not real mushy, I'm not a huggy type person, but I'm going to do this for you in this time. And I'm feeling this is what you need. And you were right. And that's what I needed. So.
And that's awesome, because again, that's like the first thing I felt to do, because y'all gotta understand me. In those times, I feel real awkward. And my mom will tell you, I've never been a huggy person. I don't know. I always ask people when they say something, like, now, where did that come from? But I ask myself where it come from. I don't know if somebody scratched me in church. I don't know where it come from, but I've never been so to do that. And I felt empowered that she allowed me to be that for her. And again, the gist of everything we're sharing with you all tonight and airing out our laundry is because we want somebody to know this is the way to that emotional connection. This is the way, like, now we went through a lot of things, but these are just stories that we pick out to tell to where we are now, that literally, and it's a great place. When you say, I would say, yeah, we still have all the fuss and different, but it's not as atomic as it was before. It's not like a nuclear bomb. It's like, we get through it, we get upset, we talk about it, we say our little piece, and then we move on. So much so that now on the other side of this, with the help of the Lord, of course, we have times of intimacy where the other night in Val, it's kind of funny because our kids are hilarious, y'all. Many of y'all are told we should do a show, but they won't cut up when the camera's on. So Val and I, we put the kids, they were in the bed, and I'm talking about intimacy. So our relationship has evolved in a way that, I don't know what you say, it's not rush.
Yeah.
You know, it's not rush like we, you know, like, okay, let's put the kids to bed so we can do what we need to do. It's not like that. It's like, you know, sometimes it's like life gonna end tomorrow, so we like rushing this stuff now. It's like now we're settled. And I'll never forget, my mom told us this. I was coming from the pulpit one time, and I didn't forget that story, but I thought about this when we were talking. And my mom, I came down the pulpit, and Val always after church, she'll give me a mint, make sure my breath's smelling right. And as I talk with people, and my mom said, you all are aligned now. Yeah. And I don't know if she remembered that, but that was one of the most powerful words. And I literally heard something like click within us, because it's like, it takes a while through trials, ups and downs to get to that place, guys. And like I'm saying, we're like compared to, I know my mother-in-law's on here and my mother, they've been married umpteen years, and we're like toddlers in this thing. We're not infants, but we're toddlers now. But they can attest to the fact that it's through those tough times. It's not easy being in the middle of it, but when you work through it, you appreciate that. You appreciate that place you are with that person. So this particular night, we got the kids settled in the bed, and so there was a movie on. So we got these recliners, y'all, and they are wonderful. For those of you all don't have recliners, get your recliner. Don't get the sectional, get the reclining sectional. So we got the piece, and it's so funny because I didn't even want to get it, but Val like, no, it's got the little cup thing in the middle, like you at the movies, Ronnie, like the movie. So we were sitting, got the kids together. So we got this. Our TVs are pretty good size, so we recline, and Val's like, babe, pop some popcorn. So I went to pop some popcorn, and we were sitting in here with our bowl of popcorn like we at the movies. And we were laughing and touching on each other. I mean, just simple stuff like that, that I don't normally do, and she wasn't normally accustomed to me doing, because we felt comfortable with one another because we were intimately connected emotionally. And that's what I want to leave. But here's the funny part. I can't leave this out of the story. So we're watching whatever movie we're watching, and our little one named Zachary. So he comes out, and I forget what he said. Something like, oh, y'all going to put us to bed and then have a movie on us, or something he said, like to that effect.
Yeah, he made it sound like it was a plot that we had. Yeah. Parents always do this, and that's not fair. You all send us to bed so that you
can watch a movie
and can eat popcorn on the couch, and you tell us not to eat on the couch. So we thought it was funny, but you have to know Zachary to know, and he got out his bed to make sure he let us know, and then went back and went to sleep. So.
But the point is that was what we went through, and we have little bumps in the roads, but they put us in a place of intimacy, and that's what we want to really hang out there tonight. Are y'all enjoying the conversation? Y'all come and let me know. Let me know that you are getting something out of this. Let me know that it is blessing your socks off. Let me know. I'm so glad some brothers are on here tonight. God bless you. And for those that are watching with their wives, God bless you all. Thank you all for tuning in, and I hope something has been helpful. That's
intimacy too.
Kenneth said the mint ministry is intimacy too. Yes, sir. Because we gotta have that mint. We gotta have that mint. Praise God for the mint. So those are different ways. Now, we always want to leave you all with something. Like we said, we don't want to just cut off and just tell you our stories and experiences. And the whole purpose of our stories and experiences is to let people know that no matter where you are, no matter what you're going through, whether you're married or whether you're going through a turbulent time with relationship with your friend, it could be in your family. You have to understand and savor those moments of intimacy, because those are the ones, I hate to say, when we're gone on and expired, those are the moments that you can cherish and remember. Yeah. You know, those are the times, I remember that. Those are things that bring people to tears because you share that intimacy. You know, I never heard anybody say, oh, I just remember we used to cuss and fight like dogs. I couldn't stand them, but I'm going to miss them. You know, people never say that, but we remember and tend to highlight those intimate moments that we celebrate. So we want to keep creating those memorable moments. We want to keep creating those memorable moments. And both parties can play a part in that by allowing yourself to be vulnerable. So
I think
go ahead.
I just want to point out, and that's the key. You got to allow yourself that, because I know sometimes, well, I'm not emotional. And even women sometimes say that, well, I don't do all that touchy stuff, or I don't cry like that. I don't do, but there's some level of emotion that you're going to exude whenever some things happen in your life, whether it's tragedy, whether it's hard times, whether it's whatever it is. And so you have to be okay. Like going back to the first beginning, marriage takes work. It's a partnership. It's a given and not just always a taken. And so sometimes you are going to, just like he said, although, and most people that know him, he's not a very outwardly expressive, emotionally type of guy. He doesn't become unglued. He doesn't, he's not going to yell at you all extreme and call you all types of names. Everybody shows their, expresses things differently. Now he's going to ask some questions and he wants to get to the root of the matter. And, he will hug, but he'll put himself in that place when he knows that it's needed. Whether that's for me, he'll do it for his mom. He'll do it for his brother. If it means I just need you to be a listening ear. And some people, I just can't sit and listen to somebody talking. Well, you can if you allow yourself to be, because it's that give and take. So it's not always a good excuse to say what you're not about. I'm not saying lose yourself and become that. If you're not a crier, that's totally fine. I'm not saying crying is what you have to do, but you got to find some way to connect when this person needs you in an emotional way. Because when you love and you care, those are the things you're willing to do, especially for the sake of a marriage. So,
and we always keep it to the Bible, and the Bible tells us that husbands, give yourself to your wives as Christ did for the church. So the bigger sacrificer should be the husband. And like I said, this was a whole different dynamic, because I'm pretty sure in every situation or every relationship that we're in, we have to learn our role in script. And what do I mean by that? At our jobs, we have to put on certain hats. At your job relationships, we share intimacy with certain people. How do I say that? You're close with certain people for the intimacy that we're talking about at your job. You just kind of click with them. How is that intimacy established? Through commonality. You all speak a certain language that both of you understand, and you tend to like, oh, I'm going over here with Greta because she's got a child, or she know how to cook pound cakes, and you share recipes. So that closeness and that vulnerability causes you to share intimacy. There are certain things like with your friends, you'll get together and share. I got a buddy of mine, Terrence, and me and him have sat on the phone 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning, just sharing stuff. He's empty out of himself. I empty out of myself. Dr. Polite, I think he was on here. We've done the same thing, and you don't find it, but we've established intimacy. That is no homosexual thing, but it's an intimacy because it's vital to the existence of every correct relationship in your life. You need to establish those perimeters, those grounds. So this is why we want to share this with marriage. I wanted to say this because I was thinking about this. Val was saying this, and I think it's so, it brought me to this. In establishing those lines of intimacy and creating that those intimate moments, emotionally connecting, we have to understand the language. And like I said, some of the stuff we said before, but it's true. You have to understand the language. And what I mean about that, one time Val called me she'll call my phone. And you remember this. She'll call me. Well, when I call, like if I don't answer the phone, I'll call her back. And I'll say, did you call me? Hey, you call me? And she was like, why did you say that? Why you say you called me? Why you said that? And I'm like, let me explain what I mean. Y'all hold on a minute. Hold that thought, because my computer just says get ready to die. So I got to plug it up. We have a station break. It's on you.
I don't have a song for y'all. So sorry. Or a joke. You just got to sit here with me. You can plug up the. Got it? Yeah. You go shut them down. Okay.
Okay, we back on. All right, so I don't want it to die in the middle of the show because this is some good stuff. Y'all need to hear this. Oh, Arlene said Dr. Polite there. Hey, what's up, Dr. Polite? That's my vent buddy. So one of the things I found out, and I would call, and I would return a call, and I was like, you call? And she was like, why do you keep saying that? You know I called. Why did you say? I said, no. Let me explain what I mean. And this going to help somebody out. My verbiage, or my dialect rather, and I understand this, a dialect is, you could say the same thing, but in certain regions, in certain towns, it means something totally different. That's a whole different. My students set me up one time because Mama Sonia speaks Spanish. So they told me a word that meant something else because they were, I think, Cuban, but Mama Sonia is Dominican. And when I told her, she said, oh, no, don't say that, because I didn't know. So you have to understand certain things, even though we're saying the same word, means different things. So when I told her that, what I was actually saying, and I had to explain this to her, so now she's okay, because she understands my verbiage, and that created cohesive intimacy. Wow, I just made that up, y'all. Cohesive intimacy. So I told her, I said, this is what I was doing. I said, when I'm asking you that, I'm not asking you like, did you call? I saw that. What I'm saying is, what do you need me to do? What can I help you with? So we establish those lines of communication. So like Val was saying, we have to understand that in those times that we're on the same page and nothing's wrong with the other person that you allow yourself, because that's your spouse. Come on. Yeah. That's your spouse, and you have to grow to those places. Is this good conversation for y'all? Y'all let us know. Let us know if this is helping you out today. Helping us out. See a lot of new faces on here. Welcome to the living room for those that don't know. So we're talking about intimacy tonight and allowing. So as always, guys, we want to give you some good takeaways. I hope this has been rich for you, and we want to give you some takeaways that you can implement in your marriage or in your relationship at your job. You know, Becky keep getting on your nerve, but there's some stuff that you can implement and establish intimacy. What I found out a long time ago, we're all different. All right, we're all different. And one of the things, if you go back to the original purpose of man and woman, the Bible says that they were one in the beginning, but yet they were different in their function. And I'm going to let that sink in. They were different in their function, but they were one because they were of the same species. Are y'all hearing me? Adam didn't go out and try to get jiggy with a bear. Eve didn't try to go out and, rap to a lamb. They were compatible, but yet they were different, but they were at the like species. So we have to remember that our parts, our appendages are made in such a way that they fit properly. Come on, somebody. They fit properly. So when we understand that we're different, but yet we're the same, but it's going to take us talking to getting to know one another that we can be cohesive in our union. And that's we establish that emotional intimacy. It's so funny now, and I've heard people say this, and it's for real. It's true. Val and I, we like to be riding down the road sometime now, and we thinking the same thing, because sometimes I drive, y'all, and Val will tell you, my brain travels so fast. She'll be like, Dre, where you going? You know we supposed to be going here now. I'm like, oh, I'm good. I'm going, my mind on the mall somewhere. So she stopped me, but in that moment, we're like, this is, I'm like, oh my God, I was just thinking the same thing. I'm talking about y'all identical to the word. It's like, now, some people are like, oh, that's so cute. No, that took time. Yeah. That took time to develop that, because it's like, that's right, Trish, back to that communication. You have to establish those perimeters. And if I can say this, and I'm just led to reiterate this, it's okay that you don't communicate the same, but you have to learn to find techniques that work, that you understand. If we were to travel to Mexico and you don't speak Mexican or Spanish, what do they speak? Mexicoan? No, they speak Spanish. Then you would have a handbook and you would try to get some understanding so you can enjoy the experience. So that's the same thing we want to do in our union. Sometimes I speak man and she speak woman, and we just like blah, blah, blah. And it's funny, we went through this period in our relationship. Y'all, and I promise y'all, we did all this stuff. Val sitting there, she in line. We went through this stuff in our relationship where we would ask each other, where did that come from? Like we would say something, and we used to use this word. Val, I know I'm here and I ain't saying this. We would say, you're hearing out of your insecurity. And we used to always say, you're hearing out of your insecurity. Now, here's the thing. Both of us wanted to make our union work. So we would get mad at that moment, but it was the truth. We might not admit it then, but we'd come back and say, you know what? You're right. Yeah. You're right. I was hearing out of my insecurity. And then we'll deal with it while it's on the table. We didn't put it on. We deal with it while it's on the table. Working through brought us to that celebratory place because we accomplished that. We nip that in the bud. We check that off and we develop that emotional intimacy. Is that making sense? Y'all enjoying this? Y'all give me some hearts. Let me know that you're enjoying this. We got a quiet group tonight. So we want to leave you with something, some things that we can walk away with and help all of us. So we got 3 P's. I always like to do, these are takeaways. I like to do something kind of rhythmic so we can remember and take them away with us. So the first one is present, partner, and patient. So we want to kind of elaborate on this: present, partner, and patient. So in order to establish those grounds of emotional intimacy, and remember we said emotional intimacy means connecting emotionally, whether it's your goldfish in the bowl. Sometimes you got to go and talk to your goldfish in the bowl because animals feel it. They feel neglected. All you do is work at the house. Some of y'all, this is the Spirit of God speaking to you about your dog. Some of you work all the time, a little Bobo in his pen. You don't say nothing to him. You take him out and walk him and bring him back, put him in the pen, and now his hair dropping off. And you wonder what's going on. And it's like he's feeling animal neglect. Why? Because you haven't established those grounds of emotional intimacy with your dog. Bobo need to climb up in your bed and you need to rub on his ear like you used to. And I know that's a far-fetched illustration, but that's how we so need, because one of the things I discovered the other day, and the Spirit of God spoke this to me, we are social creatures. That's why a lot of people are having a problem with the pandemic. We're social people. We like to get out and talk. We like to get out and touch, different things. We like to just go out and walk and inhale. We're social people, so you have to always remember. Okay, let's get to the closing, the takeaway. The first one is be present. In order to establish emotional intimacy, you must be present. What do I mean? Make time. Make the time. No longer, I'm just too busy to do that, or this and that, and the other, or, find out your spouse's love language. Find out how they, what they like. And we went through the whole bed. I'm not going to go through the bed again because we might have a long discussion after this. But I know Val is a very sentimental person. Val is very sentimental. So that's like one of her languages. So I know for me to leave a note on the pillow or one time, and I did this for real, y'all. I'm not making this stuff up. I wrote, I saw this on some movie or something. So I wrote, if you take Vaseline and write it on your bathroom mirror, and I wrote "I love you" or something. I forget what it was. When the mirror steams up, the message will come through. So I just gave y'all fellas something. I just gave that. Yeah, y'all can have that. All the brothers on here, y'all can have that, and your wives will go ballistic. So it was funny because it's unexpected. It wasn't something planned, and what that does, that establishes intimacy. Okay. That establishes the intimacy. So here's the thing. Be present. Make time. You got to make time for it. We can't always be busy. I'm the type of person, like I said, I'll stay on go all the time. And Val will tell me something. I will literally stay at my computer, cell phone, laptop. I have laptop in this hand, cell phone in this hand, and I'm in front of the computer punching buttons like this, But there's sometimes I have to shut it down. It's like, will you watch a movie with me? And I'm like, I don't know right now. No, we get together and watch a movie. So we have to shut it down and make time. Is that making sense to anybody? Next. Go ahead. Yeah, jump in.
Also making time of being attentive in that moment too with that person. You know what I mean? So whatever it is that you're going through, not letting things become a distraction. And the best way when you think about it, because again, we're just touching on emotional intimacy, but he named all the other 4. And I know especially when it comes to a sexual intimacy, you want that person to be present. Mm-hmm. So in the same it is, when it comes to the emotional.
Right. My old pastor used to say, make early deposits. Make your deposits early, and you have to have something to withdraw on later on. So you have to be present, and that's so true because being attentive. And that was something that I had to work through because I was the type of person, and Val hated this. I would sit at the breakfast table with my cell phone like this. And don't y'all judge me because some of y'all do it too. I have my cell phone right here, and I'm like, yeah, what you say? Yeah, some. And she was like, Dre, really? You gonna break? And I would get so mad. I'm like, why are you taking my cell phone from me? And I'm like, I can hear every word you say. I know what you're saying. but that was very disrespectful to her, and I wasn't being present in the moment. Because when we want something, we don't want folk doing other stuff and painting and fixing the car while we trying to have their undivided attention and you trying to share an intimate experience. Because that's the table is where, if you go back to our roots, the table is where we had some of our, deep conversation as a family in the dinner table, in the living room. Is this making sense to you all? All right, y'all give me some hearts. Give me a hearted up. Let me know that this is hitting the spot. I want to read this comment. Sarah said, when Boaz and I got married, my pastor in Jayville said, always have a date night. Like you said, make time. That's right. Now that's a whole, thank you, Sandra, for your comment. That's a whole different, because we had to learn that. And one of the things we used to do, our date night was date day. And we would do it on Sunday. My mom would get the kids on Sunday afternoon, and Val and I would go out. And when I tell y'all, I'm so serious, she would like light up, because our routine kind of went this way. After Sunday, I preach hard. Not really, but I felt like I preached hard. I preached hard. I would come home. I would change my church clothes. I'd throw them across the chair. I would get in the bed and I would sleep about 5 o'clock. And everybody knows Dre sleep don't bother. I get up, make a mad dash to the kitchen, eat, sit down at the tube, or grab a cell phone. That was my routine. And I could see at first she wasn't saying nothing, but you could tell if you know your spouse, you know when something brewing. And it was a matter of time before that tropical depression was going to be a full-blown hurricane. So I had to make sure I had to do something like, okay, what's going on? And sometimes we could be slow to the party, man. Come on. It's like, I didn't even have a clue, like, what's going on? Church, So like, she was polite in the way she said it, because that's how we establish our ground rules, our rules of engagement and fighting fair. And I'm like, okay, I got you. Yeah. So we start doing things. We start going to, we established this honey baked ham, of course, before the pandemic. And we both talk, and she can tell you this. I know I'm talking a lot tonight, but she got a lot to say too. And we said this, we were like, we made honey baked ham our little place. You know how you see on the movies, like everybody had that little restaurant in Italy and this, that. Well, we said honey baked ham was our Sunday spot. So almost every Sunday, right now, our lunch spot. Yeah, not dinner, our lunch spot. After church, we would go to honey baked ham. We would sit at the little table. My mom had the kid, and we would just enjoy each other. We would laugh. We would tell corny jokes, and it would establish the intimacy. So much so, the people working at honey baked ham would look for us on Sundays. Yeah. And then the pandemic happened. So, whatever. But, that's kind of what we want to do, be present. Okay, the next one is partner. And this is a big one, because especially on both ends, whether it's, I know I'm focusing from my experience as the man, but it also happens from the women too. When men go through certain things, it could be grief. I should have told this story, because this was a hard time for me when I turned 40. Oh. When I turned 40, I don't know what was going on with me, y'all. I don't know what was happening at 40. I can't even explain it. And some of the stuff that people said, I should have been thankful for, because I had all my hair. I wasn't bald. The thing that men stress out of. But I don't know, 40 was like, it was my 50, I guess. I guess it was my 50 at that time. And it was just really hard place for me. And I told Val, again, like we said in the front, I gave voice to what I needed from her. Yeah. I gave voice to it. I want to say that again. I gave voice to what I needed from her. I didn't sit over there in the chair, oh, I'm all right. And she could see something was going on. I said, I don't know what's going on with me. It's like this and that. And medically, I was fine. I mean, it was just a dark place for me. And I said, I needed to be celebrated. That's what I said. I said, right now, I just need to be celebrated. I need to be made a fuss over. Now, some of y'all think that's mushy and all that kind of stuff, but hear me when I tell you this stuff works. Yeah. And so what she did, she left little notes for me. She prepared special meals for me. She did all those things to help me feel affirmed in that moment, because in life, you go through those things. You don't even know what trigger them, but you'll go through them. And
it goes back to what we talked about, I think, last week, where you have to communicate that, because sometimes we don't know what the need is. And so, and for him, he just said he's not emotional. He normally isn't bothered about those things. But when he did turn, it was something I hadn't experienced with him, because he wasn't mean necessarily, but it was more like just sad and just,
Mm-hmm.
like not
Withdrawn.
and just didn't feel good about himself. And I'm thinking, how did you go from here to here? But that's okay. That was what he was experiencing. So we had to talk through that because I wasn't sure how to support him or what he needed in that moment. And so you had to let me know when he said I needed to be celebrated. So we had to talk through that. I'm like, well, like in what way? What are you saying? You just need to know that you're important. You need to know our value, that you're important to this family, that you're important as a man, as a, so, and just finding ways to just keep affirming him in that area. So, but again, we had to talk through it. Now he could have chose to stay silent and just try to deal on his own, and it would have caused some friction because now I'm feeling like, he's not letting me in and he's withdrawing. So that can cause a lot. And there's been moments in our relationship that has happened, but we learn, fast forward, like you said, these are tools and things that we had to learn to do better, to have a healthier marriage and to continue to try to grow our marriage and stick it out from times that we were just like, this is a lot. And it goes back to, that's why marriage takes work. Marriage is for mature people, because not everybody feels like they got the energy or the patience or the, want to stop to do it and cater to these things. But when you love and you care, and it goes back to that, and you're in it with this person, then you have to stop and you have to care. You got to take the time.
And it has to be both parties. I want to say that because I don't want people misconstrue what we're saying tonight. It takes both parties. You can't try to work at a relationship if you're the only one in it. There's no way one person can win a whole football game, one person. You need the whole team. So it takes a team effort. It's so funny because I think about those times, like when Val said, when I was in that space, I didn't even realize, and my mom even told me this, and this is what we need to stick a pin in, guys. When everybody starts saying the same thing about you, it ain't everybody, it's you. So my mom started saying, you're so mean. Why are you being so mean? Because I didn't want to talk on the phone. I was just in this dark place and I could not understand what was going on. Now, here it is again. And I always tell people, I believe spiritual things. I believe in loving the Lord and all that kind of stuff. But it took me seeking the Lord's face, but operating in practical principles to get me out of that place. So when I told Val that, I gave voice to my anguish and pain. I gave voice to it. I let her understand this is where I'm at, because what she started feeling like it was something she was doing.
Right.
So now when we're trying to establish intimacy together, it started driving a hedge in the union. And a lot of time when these wedges are in the union, it starts very subtle with small things that go unchecked. We have to keep those lines of communications open. We have to keep them open. And the other thing I want to say, and we're going to move to the next one, we're almost done. Allow yourself, you've got to be truthful, guys. If you're feeling that, and I know sometimes as brothers, I remember another rough patch I was going through when I had lost my job, and I felt like such a nobody at the house, because it's like she was carrying the load of the family. And I would get so aggravated because I'm like asking her, I need some gas money. And it was like, oh my God, I can't be in this place. You're supposed to be asking me for money, And she said, it ain't about that. She said, would you get over, it ain't about all that. She said, it's a blessing and I can do it right now. So I did better with it. But as a man, we've been taught that you're supposed to support your family. So I just want to touch on those things. So we got to keep those lines of communication open. Be honest. Be transparent. Give voice to your anguish, to that pain. Give voice to it, because you owe that to your spouse to understand where you are, that you can set up those boundaries and those standards. Hey, right now, and we've done this, Val, I said, I'm just going through something right now and I just need to sort.
Right.
I said, I need to sort. That's the word I use. She's like, well, what is going on, Dre? Then she's a woman, so she's concerned. She know my countenance is not right. So now, to me, I hear, so now I get agitated. Instead of me just opening up my mouth and saying, look, I just need a moment. I'm trying to sort out some things. This is this. I'm going to take a drive. She's like, okay, I'll be here when you get back. Those are the type of boundaries that you have to operate in when we're talking about partnering. Right. And I said all that's still a partner. You have to understand what that spouse needs, give them that room, and understand you can't be everything to them. You just don't have enough You're not that cute, you're not that strong to be everything to them. And I know that's a bit drastic because we don't think that way, but sometimes in our actions, we feel like we can fix it. There are some things that will happen in your relationship that are beyond your control, and you'll feel helpless, you'll feel disconnected, but you have to allow them that opportunity to work through it, but let them know I'm here to support you. And that's how you establish intimacy. Yeah. Is this making sense? Y'all come on, give me some hearts. Let me know that you're enjoying the program. The feed is stopped. I don't know if it's late behind, but the feed is stopped. Okay, next we're going to go ahead and finish it up with this. The last one is be patient. You have to be patient because sometimes your storm experience, maybe you one that can run through it, but some people, they kind of push through it in hard. So you have to allow yourself to be patient and show compassion to that person when they're working through. And don't say stuff because this inflicts pain. And people say, well, oh my God, you're still going through the same thing? Oh my God, how many months you been dealing with that? Oh my, you still going to just get over it. Life goes on. We start saying all this crazy stuff. And what I learned a long time ago about dealing with conflict, and I used to say this, if somebody said I did something, they're like, really? Well, I didn't mean it that way. I didn't, you cannot rob a person of how they're feeling. That's how they feel. That's their truth, and they take ownership of that. So our approach should be in respect to what they said or articulate to us as, I understand, what can I do to help you? Val said this all the time. On Sunday morning when I'm preparing for the live, and y'all know where everybody's out there church, she's like, hey, what can I do to help you? Do you need me to do this or type this or get me, so I say, I want scrambled eggs, waffles, some ham and cheese and, food. Help me out, and so, and some tea with a cough drop and a partridge in a pear tree. No, but I ramble on all this stuff, but that's the way she ate in that particular time. So, in the last one, remember the 3 P's, be present, partner, and be patient is don't get frustrated. Don't get frustrated. What do we mean by that? Not saying that frustration won't come. The Bible says this, anger, but sin not. And what he says is he lets us know that you're emotional and you're going to sometime operate in your emotions, but don't let your emotions rule your behavior. I know I just said a mouthful, but I want us to think about that. We're emotional beings, but don't let that emotion rule your behavior. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, you do.
Mother Barnes, she doing her stand-up. She said, you mean after all these years, I still got to show compassion to my husband? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And we respectfully say that to you. But we have to understand in those times that we're dealing with this, that you can't get frustrated. Give those people that space. Give them that time. But watch this. This is going to be helpful to somebody. Give an expiration date. Yeah. And let me explain what I mean by that. And I'm sharing with y'all stuff that we went through. You can't just leave that person out there hanging. Well, I just need some time. I just need to sort this. Now you're leaving your spouse disconnected. Then well, how long you going to be? 3 days, 2 weeks? How long, how long this going to go on? So what you're going to let them know, I just need some time. Can we talk about it in a couple of hours? I just need to go sort. Can we talk about it tomorrow morning? Are y'all here? If that's making sense to somebody, y'all let me know, because I think that was a bomb moment. Somebody need to drop a bomb because we just gave a strategy. Go ahead.
I was going to say, and that's important because in saying that you're going through things and you need that time and be patient, we say that with balance, though. Patience is not a year from now, and you're not talking and you're not letting that person in, because that happens, you all, seriously. To me, then there's other underlying issues going on there if it's that. But it's important to communicate that, like, hey, because we've done that, like, hey, I just don't want to get into it right now. I don't, feel like talking about it in this moment. And it's nothing like against him. It could be like I've been frustrated about work stuff, and I'm like, oh, I just don't want to rehash that or go through that story. But I'm like, but I'll be okay. I just need you to just give me a moment, or I'm gonna just sit here and watch TV or do something in that moment. But I give him a time frame because you don't want to stay stuck in it. And again, because then that's just going to create other situations that you definitely don't want to let in, because those things come in subtly. So you got to be careful when you're working through some things. Again, it goes back to communicating that and stating what you need. in those times.
The Bible always tells that we should be a people that's our mission in life is to implant peace.
Yeah.
It says endeavoring to keep the peace. We're supposed to be implanting peace in everything that we go through. And what I mean by that in saying this is both parties have to want to resolve the issue. That's key.
Right.
Because if one person feeling one way, and what it'll do when you submit to the authority, the governing authority of God, like we said in the beginning of the show, God is our governing authority. Even though you might start out wrong, the Spirit of God check you and like, you're not saying that right. You didn't say that right. Go back and get it right. So what I mean, like when Val said, we give those, thank you for the bomb, guys. We give those boundaries, and boundaries are very important. So we establish those boundaries. I need this amount of time, respectfully, not with a very haughty spirit. Also keep your posture in check, because even though you say it peaceably, your body movement can say something different. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Because you can say, well, I need time, but you walk out and slam the door. And okay, oh, you got an attitude. Now I'm going a whole different way. Oh, you got an attitude with me? So now I'm pulling back all this stuff. So when you come back and you want to talk, I don't want to talk to make peace with Lady Valor. I want to talk to defend my case. And don't think I ain't gonna bring up you walk out here and slam that door. Who you think you are slamming the door? This is my house, and that's how we get into those ugly blow up moments. But we have to want to be peaceable. We have to come to the table. What can we do to make this right? What can we do to make this right? Nobody wins. If none of us at a unity, nobody wins. So we want to not get frustrated and tweak how we respond. It's okay if you say, I'm upset right now, I'm mad. If you want to say you're mad, say that. Again, give voice to your frustration. Don't, what's wrong with you? Nothing ain't wrong with me, but then you walk out the hole and turn over the lamps and you punch the refrigerator and, the fan, threw it out the door. You can't do that stuff. Right, nonverbal communication. Thank you. But that's what it takes. Now, here's the kicker to this stuff, y'all. If we can master this, that's the beautiful thing about being single and want to be married. If you can start mastering and working on these things now, those will be quality characters that you look in a potential spouse.
Yeah.
Because it goes beyond lips, hips, and fingertips, and muscles, and triceps, and biceps. All those things are favorable if you like, but at the end of the day, it's how they're going to operate and how you're going to create the sanctity of that union, and that's by working through those situations. All right? So we want to close with that. We hope that everybody's enjoying. This is our unfortunate last night that Lady Valerie is going to be my co-host, but I appreciate y'all give her some hands, thumbs up. She did an awesome job. This is her debut appearance on Facebook, and we had some conversations behind the scene, y'all, with this, but we got through it, and it just gave us more material for you all. So I hope that you all have enjoyed what you've heard tonight. And like I said, I'm proud to announce we are expanded, and we're also on YouTube, and you can go back and catch the replays of this if you want to on Facebook as well. But YouTube, you can catch these replays of these things. Always some of the regulars, thank you all for dropping by and sharing it with us. Tell somebody about what's going on. I'm going to say one more show. We appreciate that. Thank you all for just tuning in. Now, got some exciting news. Tasha, you won the competition, so make sure you text me your address so we can get that special something out to you. It's a picture of me. No, but go ahead and get that out there. Hey, Cheryl, how you doing? God bless you. Thank you for joining in with us. On next week, I'm so excited. A friend of mine is going to be hanging out with us in you don't want to miss this. Veronica Neely Morris, which is a certified transformational coach, I think it is. She's going to be coming on here. And y'all, when I tell you, she is hysterically funny, but she knows her stuff. So I want you to tune in. She's going to talk about working through insecurity. She's got some funny stories. I love to hear her share, because one of the things I can say about her, she's so real. She's just very transparent and real. So go ahead and mark your calendars for the 28th at 8 o'clock. We'll always be here on the living room at 8 o'clock and share an experience. Tell somebody if you're enjoying the show. Y'all tell somebody, let them know. And I also want to tell you all that my YouTube channel, I'm trying to build that. So if you're in that space, please go to the YouTube channel. On YouTube, it's I Am Pastor Dre TV, and subscribe. A lot of you all are going there looking at the videos, but I need you to subscribe, because the strategy is when I get a certain amount of numbers, then I can monetize it and start making some cha-ching. You know, that's what it's about. But if you can help me out with that effort, and tell your friends, if you believe this type of content that you enjoy and it's helping empower you throughout the day, then we ask that you just please share that information. Thanks to all of those again. Y'all, please remember us in your prayers, that we will keep doing what the Lord is allowing us to do. The Lord gave me this platform a while ago just to share and encourage people. And I tell you, it has grown tremendously. So I hope it's a blessing to you all. Again, thank you all so much. You want to say some closing? Say something to the people, because they ain't gonna see you no more until to Easter, because she interviewing me on my show. Yeah.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on this particular platform. But no, thank you all for your time. This is different because my thing is, my heart is always about ministry. It's not about not wanting to share the story or share. It's just the platform of Facebook. I'm not going to get into the whole thing, but I just wanted to make sure. I told him, I said, if I'm going to be on there, we're going to share. I want to make sure it's about kingdom work. It's going to empower and inspire somebody. I'm just not into the whole just to be talking to people just to talk, and people, being nosy and just want to know things. It's about really helping and growing. So I'm thankful for this opportunity. I'm thankful for this platform, because our story, I know, can help to inspire others. It's not all a beautiful, glamorous story at all points in it, but there are more highs and lows. I'm grateful for the experiences that we've had in our marriage, because now that can become our testimony to share hope for other couples or people that aspire to be married. It takes work. You have to be mature. You have to learn each other. You have to be about wanting to work, and both persons have to want it in order for it to work. So hopefully what we've been able to share and be transparent through Facebook, hopefully something was said to really inspire and encourage those that are currently married, or those that aspire to be married, or those that are going through a rough patch and not sure if you want to stay together. Our hearts are always open to share, outside of, Facebook. But if you want, anything, if there's anything that I can do or we can do as a couple to be there with you all, please reach out. That's what it's about. It's not about church or title. It's just about kingdom work. And it's about wanting people to succeed in their relationship, right, but also knowing it starts with you as an individual. Seek healing. A lot of times we get into these marriages and we don't really deal with the past hurts, pains, and we don't get healed from things, and we bring that stuff on, right, and it creates an unhealthy space, an unhealthy marriage. We didn't get here because we just walked into something so perfect, so beautifully. We got here because we sought out God first and foremost, but then he taught us through this, and through our obedience to him, and through our willingness to want to work through some things and understand that, hey, it can work. And we've had some amazing examples and honest conversation is why we're here today. It doesn't have to be, marriage is not a bad thing. And I know people depict that sometimes, like, oh man, I'd never do that. And if that's where your mindset, yeah, then you don't need to do that. But there's relationships that you're going to have. So some of this stuff isn't just about being in a married relationship. You got to be good about having relationships on your job, within your homes, within your churches, or whatever. Some of us have a difficult time with that because we don't want to deal with ourselves in our ways first before we want to bring in somebody else. So hopefully it was inspiring and encouraging. Please pray for us. We'll pray for you. God bless you. Take care. Take care of each other, y'all. Be kind.
Amen. I just want to close with this. While Val was talking, I had this thought, and I want to say this to all the single people that are potentially looking for a mate. And the Spirit of the Lord just dropped this in my spirit. You know you're ready for marriage when you're mature enough to diffuse conflict. And that's what was just said to me. You know you're ready for marriage when you're mature enough to diffuse conflict. Because the perfect marriage, or the greatest marriage, is one where the two bodies can work through their differences. So when we stand before the pastors on that day, and we have on the white and the whole ceremony, and we spend all that money and all that kind of stuff. We don't want to just, I heard somebody say this, we always prepare for the wedding, but not the marriage. So it takes some give and take, like I said, but like Val said, people make it seem hard, but the reason why it's hard for some people, because you have two stubborn individuals. Yes, I said it. I said it. Yeah, I said that.
Right.
You have two stubborn individuals that don't want to give or take. Marriage is not about proving the other wrong, and like I say, taking them to court. But marriage is about going to mediation before you get to court. So that's what we want to do. I just want to leave you with those thoughts. I hope that blessed somebody's socks off. And we gotta go because I'm hungry now, y'all, for real. You know, and when I get hungry, I get real grumpy. So, and Val know that. Anybody who's been around me long enough, you know, I get short, patient. I ain't gonna be paying attention. So we gonna go. So y'all, please. Yeah, I'm getting ready to let these people go. So please, if you want to reach out to us, you can reach us, drop it in the comments on Facebook. If you want to just get together, maybe talk out some things in your relationships. We're not, what I want to say, psychologists or experts, but we can share some techniques that we went through that brought us to the place where we are now. Trust me, there's more to the story. What you see now is the up front, but the behind the scenes is where all the works take place. I always tell people, when you go to experience Beyonce, when you look at Beyonce on the stage, everything is in place. Her hair, her makeup, the little fans to blow her hair, but you cannot even fathom the work that went in behind the scene, the hard rehearsals, how she had to snap at people, because I hear Beyonce is a very perfectionist, and how she had to do. No, don't listen. You don't know the hours and the toil that went into to give this great presentation that all of us marvel over. Like, oh my God, that was awesome. So same it is with any relationship in our life. You got to build upon it. You got to work upon it. You got to do whatever is necessary to get you to that place. God bless.